Nurse Carol was on duty at the Central Hospital when she was assigned to care for Mr. Miguel, a 68-year-old man who had been in a car accident. He had been in an induced coma since his admission to the hospital and needed intensive care. Be good to the Story or Truth channel. Sign up so you don't miss a single story. Carol was a dedicated and experienced nurse. She cared for her patients with great love and care, but she felt a special connection with Mr. Miguel, who resembled his deceased grandfather. She was always by his side, holding his hand and talking to him, even though he knew he couldn't hear her. But one day, when Carol walked into Mr. Miguel, she saw something that shocked and saddened her. His wife, Mrs. Anna, was sitting on the side of the bed, her hands over his, but she wasn't praying or talking to him. Carol saw that she was stroking Mr. Miguel in a strange way, with a look of desire and passion. Carol was paralyzed for a moment, not knowing what to do. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. She left the room immediately without saying a word to Mrs. Anna. On her break, Carol decided to go to the hospital chapel to reflect on what she had seen. She sat there for a while, silent, trying to understand what was going on. She knew she needed to talk to someone about this, but she didn't know who to turn to. Finally, she decided to tell Dr. Joao, the doctor responsible for Mr. Miguel. She explained the situation to him, with tears in her eyes, and asked his opinion on what she should do. The doctor, Joao, was shocked by what Carol had seen and decided to investigate the matter. He enlisted the help of the hospital's social worker, who interviewed Miss Anna and discovered that she and Mr. Miguel had gone through problems in their marriage. She was feeling lonely and neglected, and because of this she had developed feelings for another man. The doctor, John, decided the best thing to do would be to have a talk with Mrs. Anna and let her know they were aware of what had happened. He explained to her that this was inappropriate and that she needed to respect her husband. Mrs. Anna was shocked and embarrassed by the situation. She explained that she never intended to harm Mr. Miguel and that she just wanted to feel loved again. After that, Dr. Joao decided that the best thing would be to transfer Mr. Miguel to another hospital so that he could have a fresh start in his life. Carol was saddened by the decision, but knew it was what was best for him. As she prepared for the transfer of Mr. Miguel, Carol decided to visit him one last time. She held his hand and started to cry. She felt sad that he had to go through all of this, having no idea what was going on. But she knew he would be in good hands at the new hospital. While Carol cried, Mrs. Anna entered the room, also in tears. She approached Carol and apologized for what had happened. She explained that she had let her emotions get the best of her and that she never wanted to hurt Mr. Miguel. Carol looked at Mrs. Anna and saw the sadness in her eyes. She realized that despite what had happened, Mrs. Anna still loved Mr. Miguel and worried about him. Carol decided to forgive her and hugged her, comforting her in her grief. After that, Carol helped transfer Mr. Miguel to the new hospital and said goodbye to him. She knew he couldn't thank her, but she felt she had done her best for him. She hoped that, one day, he could wake up and know that she had been there for him. Sometime later, Carol received a letter from the new hospital. It was from Mr. Miguel. He had woken up from the coma and was slowly recovering, but he had been briefed on everything that had happened. He wanted to thank Carol for all the care and affection she had given him, even when he was unconscious. Carol read the letter with tears in her eyes and smiled. She was happy to hear that Mr. Miguel was fine and that she had made a difference in his life. She was also grateful to have been able to help Mrs. Anna overcome her problems and find a better way to deal with her feelings. Since that day, Carol has learned a valuable lesson about the importance of love and care in her profession. She realized that sometimes her responsibilities as a nurse went beyond simply tending to patients' physical needs. She needed to be there for them in their time of greatest need, even if it meant facing difficult and uncomfortable situations. As time went on, Carol continued to care for her patients with all her heart and soul. She never forgot the lesson she learned from Mr. Miguel and Mrs. Anna, and in her heart she knew she had found her true purpose as a nurse. What did you think of Nurse Carol's story? Leave your comment, and don't forget to like to help the channel. Until the next.